Handshake the world has been waiting for. President Trump and President Putin have their much-anticipated first face-to-face meeting. So, how did it go? Here to break down the body language of the G20 summit is body language expert TONYA REIMAN. TONYA, this is a fascinating topic. Let's start with the handshake that was heard around the world.
Yes. So when we watch this handshake, you have to realize Trump is a very dominating force, and he uses certain tactics in order to put you into the right frame. So typically, if you watch this handshake, it's a regular handshake, right? He didn't do anything other than tap underneath Putin's arm. Normally what he'll do is he'll grab you and he'll pull you in, and what that does is it takes you off your footing, psychologically makes him more powerful. He didn't attempt to do that. What I liked about this handshake was not only did it come across as respectful, but in order to maintain the power, he then did a double pat, and that pat demonstrates, hey, I still have the authority. I'm still the more dominant force.
How did Putin physically respond?
Okay. So there's a very big height difference, and we know that height is equivalent to power. So normally, once again, Trump would kind of pull in so that he can demonstrate that height. Putin pulled back. He stood up straight. He has very good posture. He made sure he shook hands, and then with this part, see, he doesn't do anything except stand up straight, accept the handshake, and take this. Following this, Putin points, and the reason he points is because once Trump taps you, now he definitely has the upper hand because he's touched on top of shaking. So Putin needs to pay back, and this is what he does.
I feel like John Madden watching NFL football here with the telestrator. Let's get to those circles. Let's get to the sit down because different situation there.
Right. Yes. Oh, and this was actually a really interesting dynamic because as we watch these two, now the height difference isn't as noticeable, but it's still there. Trump is sitting in this position. See his fingers entangled like that? That's not normal for him.
I just untangled my fingers because you said that.
Well, he normally sits in that lowered steeple. That's his position of power, so to speak. But his body language is terrible here. See how he's all hunched over? Now, I would say that was negative, but that's his normal baseline posture, so that's fine. When we look at Putin, however, Putin looks a little bit more relaxed in this situation. Okay, so now this is cool. He gives him what's known as a submissive palm. So if I go like this to you, what I'm saying is, hey, be my friend, right?
Like you do to a dog.
Well, kind of, yeah. So if I grab your hand, okay, then what I now have the luxury of doing is either pulling it and making you mine, or I can tap you again. So it's kind of like no matter what, Putin got pulled into a handshake that he knew was going to be detrimental because Trump came across looking like, hey, I'm your friend, and then was able to take it and make it more powerful. The difference was Putin maintained his composure. He doesn't lose it easy. He has a very good poker face.
Let's get to Merkel because obviously last time those two got together, there was no handshake.
Oh, that was very awkward. Okay.
So here we go.
Now watch, both of these two, neither one of them know what to do with their hands. They're both like, who's going to initiate the handshake? Who's going to do it? You see that? So normally, everyone who's been coming out to meet her just automatically chats for a second, shakes hand. She extends her hand first. It's a very powerful movement. She did very good. He, however, has that hand, which you can see. And when you can see the outside of the hand, you become the more dominant person as well. Once again, he has the height difference and the pat.
Let's go to Merkel part 2 now, greeting every head of state personally, and then this.
Okay, much different. See what happens? The person who extends their hand first is typically seen as a dominating force. So not only does Trump make sure that this time he puts his hand out there, but once again you see him giving the pat. And that pat just lends to a fuller authority figure. It says, hey, I'm definitely in control. Because if you think of the lesser of two, the lesser will never touch the higher.
So it's almost like he had you in his ear telling him on the next one, you need to do this.
Yes, exactly. Because, and he didn't pull in, which was nice, but he needed to make sure that he had the upper hand. And that secondary touch just brings out the authority. From
the adults to what can be called a childish response, let's watch French President Macron. You got him weaving, bobbing and weaving. Where is he?
He's coming through.
Where's Waldo? There he is.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Where's Waldo? So, yeah, he comes through, he weaves, he bobs. I'm sure people are getting annoyed at this, but the reason he's pushing through was most likely because that was where he was supposed to be standing as opposed to where he was standing. So I have a feeling they renegotiated his spot. However, he does make sure that immediately following this, he has the opportunity to spend as much time as he can with Trump. Interestingly, when Obama was there, he stood right in the center. So this becomes, you know, yes, it is definitely time in office, but I'm sure there was a begrudging.
It is seniority, but you would agree he did kind of look like a little kid.
Yes, of course. You know, let's put you at the end of the table and give you the baby fork.
This is a fascinating topic. We're going to have you back on in a little bit, and I want to ask you then, people might think this is a lot of BS, if you will. I want you to break down why it's not and what this all means for human nature and all that good stuff.
I would love to do that.
Good stuff. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here,
you.
Tonya.